Hey book besties, today I thought I would do a fun booktuber tag video just so you can get to know me a little bit better, know what my reading tastes are, but also just some fun discussions. So we're going to go through 30 book kind of related questions and yeah, we'll see how we go. So I found this tag by Unclaimed Demigod, so go check them out. I will have the link down below to their 30 questions, but I saw it and thought it'd be a whole lot of fun. So question number 1 is, what's your favourite colour and do you have any books in that colour? Well, my favourite colour is purple and the answer is yes, I do have a lot of books in the colour purple. Sadly, I haven't read a lot of them when I was looking at it, so let me just grab a few. Okay, firstly, because I felt bad that I hadn't read like half of this list, I'm counting this as purple, but this is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. This is her YA Finishing Girls series that I have just started and really enjoyed. Found it super easy to read, nice quick time, but it also ties in with her Parasol Protectorate, which is her adult series, so they're in the same universe. So I read this, well, I had read the first book in the Parasol Protectorate, but I got told that I should be reading this series first. So I'm going to continue on with this series, but I'm counting this as purple. Then I've got The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. Case for Jamie by Brittany Cavallero. And The Never List by Jade Presley. I need to get to this book. As you can tell, the other ones are pretty old. What is on my... That's another thing to know about me, is what is on my physical TBR is generally of the older books. I definitely spent a lot more and had a lot more physical, well, was buying a lot more physical books when I was younger, and first watching BookTube, I sort of would buy anything I'd see on BookTube, whereas nowadays I'm very much, I read it first and then buy it if I love it, with the exception of this because I heard a lot of good things. Like, there are a few exceptions to that rule, but for the most part I'd prefer to read the book first, and then if it's like a really a 4.5 star or above, then I'll buy it. Describe myself in 3 book characters. Oh god. I don't know. That's actually going to take some homework. Like, everything is going blank. There's people I'd like to think that I'm like. Okay, I'm going to change it so it's more like people I aspire to be, I guess. I don't even know really for that one. This is such a hard question. I feel like I'm just going to go with books that I've read recently. So, like, Sophronia from Etiquette and Espionage chucks into a new situation and deals with it really well. Well, kind of. Audrey Rose, independent and wants to do things on her own. And, crap, what's her name? Peyton, because she wants to look after others and, you know, wants to do the right thing. I don't know. That was hard. Question 2, hyped books, yay or nay? For me, I have a love-hate relationship with hype books because I love that I can hear about books and books are being talked about and you get more interest in them. However, they can then be overhyped and then they fall short for me. So generally, if they're getting too much hype, I try and wait a little bit till the hype dies down before I read the book. But also at the same time, I get FOMO, so I want to be reading the book. So I'm in the middle of the yay or nay. Like, I can't go either way. If it's a new to me, like I haven't started the series, I think I lean more on the I will read it in a little bit rather than reading it straight away. Yeah, I don't generally read things like as soon, like the night that it's released or anything like that. But if I've already started the series and I really like the series, then I'm all for book hype and I want to read it as soon as I can. Okay, next question is recommend a book for each season. So for summer, I'm recommending My Friends by Frederick Beckman. I have started reading Frederick Beckman this year and oh my goodness, I am in love with his writing. His books can be absolutely heart-wrenching, but the characters are just so real, so relatable, and that's what makes it a really hard read as well, because they are just so relatable. But My Friends is definitely a nice summer read, like talking about going to the pier and learning how to swim. But yes. Then for what comes next, autumn. Yeah. Autumn, we're going to go with Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is the deluxe edition, which I find so pretty, but I really enjoyed this book. I loved it. Such an easy read, read it in one sitting, and then we get into winter, and I read A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos this year, and I'm surprised with how much I love this book. It's in a very wintry setting, like it's freezing, and this is a very old, I mean it would be, it's over 10 years, so it's a pretty old YA series, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest, but I was surprised of how easy it was just such an easy read, and yeah, it didn't take me long at all, even though it is quite thick. And then for spring, I'm recommending The Baby Dragon Cafe, because it was just a sweet read. And I feel like in spring, when things are changing, you just sometimes need that sort of cozy vibe, but not too heavy, not too light. And this was sweet. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I also enjoyed the second one as well. Next up is to name a book that wrecked me emotionally. For this, there's no questions asked, Beartown by Frederick Beckman. I went into a slight reading slump after this. Like, it was in the middle of the spring magical readathon, and I didn't read anything else after that for the rest of the month because it just gutted me. It was so tragic but real, and like, you know that people have gone through that. Like, as much as it's a fiction book, you just know that people in real life have been in those situations and have gone through all that, and then that makes it hard as well. So yes. Next up is name a book that I always recommend. At least at the moment, it's the Zodiac Academy, because I am loving reading those books and having the best time, and I feel like they're an older version of Harry Potter, so the people that grew up with Harry Potter have something that they can now sort of relate to and is a bit older for them. Even though it's an investment if you get into the world of Zodiac, even if you just do the main Zodiac series, it's an investment. But I still recommend it a lot. Next question is a book that you would recommend with tea and cookies. Well, for this, it's any sort of cozy fantasy sort of book. So Pumpkin Spice Cafe, that's not cozy fantasy, but it's a cozy contemporary. But the Baby Dragon Cafe series, as well as Legends and Lattes, those sorts of cozy fantasies, but then also things like Capturing the Devil by Kerry Maniscalco, just because it's got that English setting, like she's Victorian, England born, like of that era, so they have tea a lot, so tea and cookies. Next question is, what is my guilty pleasure book? And for this, I've been trying to work through a lot of my older YA books, because that is a lot of what is on my like my bookshelves still as unread. So I've been trying to go through some of those, and just having that more simplistic storyline and everything has definitely been a guilty pleasure. Like, I'm trying to look around at different ones that I've really enjoyed. So, like, Caraval was really enjoying. Light Lark, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, they're probably some of like my guilty pleasures, like just going through some of those, and I don't really think they're guilty pleasures, really. They're books that I want to read when I just want to be able to zone out a little bit more, like have enough that's keeping me interested but not having to really think about these massive worlds and things like that. My favourite dessert and a book that reminds me of that dessert. I mean, if I had to pick a favourite dessert, I'd probably say like a chocolate ripple cake. I'm not really like, I like chocolates and I like sweets, but I'm not a like dessert heavy person. So I don't know if what would remind me of like chocolate biscuits and cream. Yeah, I really don't know what would fit into that. So we're just gonna skip the book on that one, I think. It's almost getting into the too hard basket. Next question is, am I a procrastinator? I think with the amount of series that I have on my to read that I haven't continued on with, yes, I am a procrastinator. Yep. But yes, I am. Especially when it comes to the last book in a series that I really love, I struggle to then complete it because I don't want that world to end. Even though I know that I could go back to it at any time I wanted, it's still the idea of finishing that series. Like, I don't know how many years is it Capturing the Devil was actually on my TBR, because I would have read the first book, even the first two books when it first came out, and then I finally restarted the series and finally completed it this year. And yeah, and there's so many series that are in that situation. Next question is, how many books is too many in a series? That really depends on the series for me. If it is a amazing world and like there's lots of different places to explore, then I'm happy to keep going. My only caveat to that is because I definitely would not be reading books back to back to back, like if there's more. Probably I struggle to read books back to back regardless, but if there's like 3 or 4, it's more likely, or at least I'd read them a bit quicker. But anything more than that, I'm definitely going to have a few other things in between. So I need there to be a good like recap of what's just recently happened, just to like put myself back into the story. And that's where I think some books do struggle. And I'd almost wish that for some series, like especially longer ones, they would just have like a prologue sort of area, be like the story so far, and then if you are reading it back to back, you don't have to read that chapter, you can just skip over that chapter. But if you have been away from the book for a little while, well then that chapter just quickly jogs your memory of where we're up to and what the characters have been through. I wish that was a thing. Authors, please make that a thing. It would make long series so much easier. But with the rise of BookTube and BookTok and doing recaps and everything, it's also not as necessary nowadays because you can just go quickly watch a video to catch up. So as long as they're not extending the series for no reason and there's still plot and intrigue and everything, I'm fine with however long the series wants to be. How do I feel about cliffhangers? I love a cliffhanger when I'm reading it. I hate a cliffhanger while I'm waiting for the next book. I understand having a cliffhanger. But when you then have to wait a year, like it definitely does make people want to wait until a series is complete to then pick up the books, which is then an issue for publishing and knowing how well and how successful a book is, because people might love a book but they're not reading it until all the books are out, and then you're not sure if you should actually publish them or not. So yeah, it's hard and I have no answers. Hardback or paperback? I think my shelves speak for themselves. I am a hardback girly, no matter how expensive and hard to get it is in Australia. I love the sturdy feel of the book when it's a hardcover. It's easier to keep safe and protected. They don't get as damaged. I'm just all for the hardbacks. I miss when hardbacks sort of came out first and then paperbacks came out a year or so later, just because then hardbacks were a lot more accessible, whereas now in Australia it's really hard to get a hardback unless it is a deluxe edition. Then it's a little bit easier, but in general I've got to be buying basically on Amazon to get hardcovers, and I'm not really a fan of that. Next question, favourite book. I hate this question. Every time someone asks me what my favourite book is, I hate it. I can't. It's like choosing your favourite child. Like, don't make me do it. There's so many and for so many different reasons, but if I'm going to give... So answering this purely for a nostalgic value, and if that's what I'm going down, then I'm going to say the series of unfortunate events books by Lemony Snicket. Honestly, if Hercule counted rereads, I would be rereading this entire series this year, and I think I might actually reread it next year. This series is what got me into reading. So when I was younger, I hated reading. I struggled so badly with reading. I struggled so badly with phonics and being able to identify words. So it just made reading such a struggle for me. And no matter how much people would push me, it then made it worse in a way. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about that time, because it was an actual struggle to get through, and I remember feeling so shitty about myself. Oh my god, I am gonna tear up. This is so bad. I remember feeling so bad about myself that I struggled with spelling, and the way that my school did spelling was doing spelling contests, but you would all... Okay, sidetracking, but I have this vivid memory of we would all stand up behind our chair, and then a person would go around the room. No. Yeah, it must have been. So a person would go around the room, and you would have to spell the word to then either beat them or they beat you. So it was always a contest of who could spell better. I struggled with spelling. I was always going to fail. So I never continued on. I always lost. And so that just made it even worse, and then I didn't want to read. And I don't know how I found this series. It must have been in the library. Because that's the other thing that we had, was we were forced to take books home with us, which I get, and I want schools to encourage reading and get kids to read books and everything, but some of the books that were assigned were The Hobbit, and I did not like reading at the time. There was no way that The Hobbit was going to be a good book for me to be forced into reading, and it made me feel so bad about myself. But then I finally stumbled across The Bad Beginning, so the first book in this series, and absolutely loved it. I loved Lemony Snicket's style of writing. I loved the fact that he explained things in it, but without a way of making the reader feel dumb. So he would explain words within it. And at the time, that's what I needed. So this series it holds so many good memories. But also it's a horrible series. But yeah, so from this book I then found Harry Potter, which I then devoured. And that is where my love of fantasy all stems from, is reading those two series. So, nostalgic wise, yeah, this is where it's going to be. Next up, least favourite book. Oh, I I don't know. I can tell you things that I don't like in books, like, and especially it's hard now because I've been trying to go back through my shelves. I can definitely see how some of the older YA books just don't stand up to books being written now. Like, the one that comes closest to mind is Girls of Paper and Fire. I wanted to absolutely love this book, but the main premise of how this book starts and how the group gets together, I'm sorry, but there's no reason for this to be the way it is. It's essentially, it's a book about grooming and statutory It is what it is. And it did not need to be. And I do have it in a reading vlog. I think it will have already been published. I just don't know which reading vlog it was in. But as I was reading this, and I was getting so shitty and so mad at reading this, and I continued on because I wanted to see what the hell was going on and how it was going to try and redeem itself. It did get a bit better in the last third of the book, but it pissed me off so much. I am thinking about just getting rid of this. I do have two, because this was both in a Fairy Loot and an Owl Crate box back in the day, and I do have the second book that must have been in either a Fairy Loot or an Owl Crate as well. I don't know. I'm in two minds of continuing on, and I am a completionist. And if I'm saying that I'm in two minds about continuing on, that is how much I really hated how this started and the idea behind the story. Like, I just find it gross. Love triangles, yes or no? As long as they're not too over the top, I don't mind them. I think I just have to be in the mood for them. But it also depends on if it's an actual triangle or if it's just like one girl, two boys, or if it's a proper connected triangle. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I also just think it's overdone at the moment. So I'm on the fence. Next question is the most recent book that you just could not finish, and at the moment it is The Colour Purple. I am not a DNFer. I will read a book because I want to know what I don't like about a book, but this book I am just struggling to pick up because I really don't care. I don't want to read it. I don't like the writing. Like, I kind of wish that this was a high school textbook that I had to read just so that I could say that I've read it and be over and done with it, because I want to know why people rave about this book and think it's such a great book. But at the moment I find it very annoying. I hate the writing. I hate the fact that they never say the guy's name, it's just Mr. It's so confusing. Yeah. Next up is book that I'm currently reading, and that is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is book 2 in the Powerless series, or trilogy, but there is more than 3 books in it because there's 2 novellas plus a side book. But this is where I'm currently up to in it, so yeah, looking forward to reading this and then moving on with the others and hopefully finishing it out. Maybe this year? I doubt it, but maybe. Next question is last book I recommended to someone, and for that it is Phantasma, so they will have seen it. Yes, this is going, I'm just making sure, is this going out after I've given them the birthday presents? Yes. So one of my friends I have put in a couple of books for a birthday, and I am hoping that she hasn't read them yet. But it's because I'm recommending the books to her. So I put in there Phantasma and Enchantra and One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns because I'm hoping that she reads them and loves them. Again, hoping that she hasn't actually read them, but I don't think she uses a tracker that I can go and see. Oh, I maybe should have seen if she uses Goodreads or not. Oh, I feel like a bad friend. But I guess that's the last one I've recommended because, yeah, I've just recently packed them up and she's getting them today, like the day that I'm filming. So next question is oldest book I've read by publication date. Oh, I don't know. I have read some old classics. I'm really not in the mood to go look up what they were. I guess Goodreads would tell me, right? Oh, no, because I don't really use Goodreads anymore. So it's a downside of going between, like, changing over to Storygraph now. I don't have all my, like, old stuff. But I've read a couple of Charles Dickens, so I've read Oliver Twist. Who else have I read? I've read Dracula. I don't know where, like, the Grimm's brothers fall within all that. Surely they're more recent than Charles Dickens. Yeah, I really don't know. I'm trying to look through my shelves and like trying to spot them, but all I can see is over there is where Charles Dickens is, so that's front of mind. Oh, I've read Aristotle. Surely that's old as AF. Yeah. Surely that's the oldest. I don't know when that was actually put together, but I've read that. I've also read Sophocles. I've read a few philosophical authors because I did philosophy. So, there. What is the newest book that I've read by publication date? I guess Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver would be my newest because that came out in September. And I don't think I've read anything that was released in October yet. I need to for her kid, but I haven't yet. So I think that would be my newest release. Favourite author? Ooh, okay. I do have a few. So I have been loving Kerri Maniscalco books, and in general I've really enjoyed both series that I have, well, one I've completed and one I've got one more book to go in. So I've really enjoyed those. Love Carissa Broadbent. Absolutely been devouring those books. Well, the one actual book and novella that I've read from her. Really enjoy Mary E. Pearson. Who else do I really love? Gail Carriger. I've been really enjoying those books as well. Rachel Gillig, of course. Kristen Cicerelli. There's been some great books coming out this year that, like, I've definitely found some great new authors. Yeah, I feel bad because I'm probably missing so many. Alex Astor, I've been really devouring those books. I do really enjoy everything I've read so far that Jay Kristoff has had his hands on. Maureen Johnson. There's so many. I do have quite a few authors that I really have enjoyed. I don't know who I'd call my favourite out of all of them though. Next question is buying books or borrowing books. So, if I had unlimited funds, it would be buying books all the way. However, I have to be a bit more realistic about that, and I do borrow a lot of books. I try and not only support my library, but I also do have a few library cards that I pay for over in the States. Just have access to a wider range of books. And as I've said previously, I like reading books and borrowing them, and then if I absolutely love them, I will then go to the effort of buying the physical book. So technically I prefer to buy the book, and I definitely prefer to read a physical book, but unfortunately I haven't won Tats Lotto yet, so yeah, we'll see. I also need to be mindful of like how much space my books take up, because I need to move all these and I'm really worried that I won't actually have a place for my books at my new place. So, yeah, that's going to be an issue. Okay, next question is a book that I disliked that everyone else seemed to have loved, and I can't think of any that I truly disliked. The only one that's sort of coming to mind is The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. I didn't get into this as much as what everyone else seemed to have, and I don't know if it's just I was rushing my way through it a bit. So I think this is one that when the sequel comes out, if there is a sequel, I think it's a series, I would definitely have to reread this book because I can't remember what happened. I remember vague gists of it, but yeah, I didn't find myself in this world as much as other books, but it also might have been I was reading amazing romantic books at the time, and so in comparison this one just fell short. Like, I read it in the same week that I read Shield of Sparrows, as well as, what else did I read that week? I read a few things, so yeah, I think it wasn't as great as the others, so then it unfortunately couldn't stand up. Next question is bookmark or dog ears, and if you dog ear one of my books, well, how did you get your hands on my books, because I don't borrow my books out to anyone, but I will come and hunt you down and murder you. I am a bookmark girly, whether it's an actual bookmark or a random thing. I will not dog ear my books at all, but I have a massive collection of bookmarks, like it's ridiculous. And then every time people have been doing readathons lately, I've been trying to collect their bookmarks as well, with the exception of the one that I missed was Cassidy's. What did she do at the start of the year? I can't think of what it's called. It's so bad. No, I can't think of it. I don't have hers, but I've been trying to collect the others. So like I've got Readathon Rebellion, TBR Harvest by Leandra. What were they? The Amazing Readathon by Brie, Four Paws. And I would have, what did Lexi do previously? The Escape one. Escape the Readathon? I would have that somewhere too. But yeah, so I've been trying to collect all the bookmarks because they're very pretty. I would love to create bookmarks. Let me know if you're interested. But yeah, they're so pretty and I love the foiling. I would just have to find somewhere in Australia that does them. Next question is a book that I can always read. I don't know. I don't reread a lot of books. Like, Harry Potter is one of the first ones I've sort of really reread. I might like reread the first book to continue on with the series, but I wouldn't say that it's like something that I can always go back to. So I actually don't have an answer for that one because I don't think I really do have a book that I can always go back to. Yeah, aside from, yes, Harry Potter and yeah, the series of unfortunate events, because they just have those nostalgic memories for me. Can I read while listening to music? Yes. Nothing with lyrics in it though. So I like having ambient sounds going. I generally listen to a lot of like rainwater and streams, unless I have a sprint going. But also lately I've been doing a lot of immersive reading, so I've been listening to the book at the same time as reading, so I really sort of haven't been able to do any of that, and that's been my favourite way of reading so far. Yeah, I've been really enjoying that. Next question is one point of view or multiple. For this, I would generally lean towards multiple for fantasy. For contemporary, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I just find it too repetitive, and sort of going over the same sort of thing. But to me, it's more, it depends on how it's done. Yeah. For the most part, I would lean towards multiple point of view rather than a single. If I'm like just going to call it, we're going to call it as I'd prefer multiple. Next question is, do I read books in one sitting or over multiple days? It depends on the size of the books, and it depends on if it's a reading sprint day for me. So on Tuesdays where I have sprints and I am sprinting for a little while, I will generally be able to finish that book that day. Whether or not it's technically one sitting is another question. Like, sometimes it is in one sitting if it's a smaller book. Like if it's a YA book that's only 300 pages or so, I will definitely finish that in one sitting. But if it's something else that I'm really enjoying that's like 400, 500 pages, I might finish it that day, just not technically in one sitting. And then other days, yeah, it takes me a couple of days. So both. The last question is books I've read because of the cover, and let's be honest, so many. I hate the analogy of don't judge a book by its cover, because I'm sorry, that's why there's an entire marketing team behind the creation of a cover. It's so that the cover interests people enough to pick it up. Books that I do love the covers of are things like The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I love the cozy vibe of it, and it does reflect the cozy vibe of the book. I'm going to be controversial in this one, and I love the cover of the old Quicksilver book, and I picked it up because of the cover. I would not pick up Quicksilver with the current, like, I'm going to put it here, just the text cover. That doesn't talk to me at all. It doesn't tell me anything about the book. It means nothing. And I'm sorry, but I really don't like it. I understand that Callie Hart got a lot of flack about this cover, and people had some absolutely disgusting, hateful things to say about it, and it went too far with what people were saying and how they were voicing their expression, like voicing their opinions, to the point of she made the change of the cover. But I'm sorry, I really don't like it. So yes, I judge a book by its cover. The other thing I will say with that though is I am getting a little annoyed with the amount of deluxe edition books that are coming out. I feel like they're losing their meaning and of how special they are if every book is getting not just like one special edition, but getting multiple versions of special editions. On the flip side of that though, I do appreciate that means it's easier to get those books in hardcover in Australia, because it's more likely that a deluxe edition will actually come to Australia and be in bookstores. But seriously, like, I think it's sad that sprayed edges are no longer special, and now we're going to full intricate patterns on them. And yes, I love that, and I love those designs, but it's not necessary for every book to be done like that. But at the same time, if I'm paying $50 for a book, then, you know, I want something out of it. Okay, so that is the end of the 30 questions to get to know me a little bit better. So hopefully you got to learn something about me. You made me cry. You made me laugh. But yeah, I thought it'd just be fun to do a fun little book tag, and I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a like, a thumbs up if you did, and hit the subscribe if you want to, and I will see you all next time. Bye!